Hi. So today we're going to be looking at the Pygal um, visualization library. But before then, let's just see what Pygal is about. So recently, I've been playing around with this visualization library. I've used it for a bit, and I think it's a really cool library, to be honest. It's a Python library which creates SVG graphics. So it's similar to a tool like D3.js. Yeah, and thing I love about this library is it has a very good and detailed documentation. So you can see some of the examples of the things you can do with Pygal. So in this playlist series, I just want to introduce you to Pygal as much as I can. Go over the most common chart types and look at some of the styling options. This is actually my first video, so curious to see how this goes. Yeah, but it's gonna be fun. So let's do it. So for me, personally, I use PyCharm as my development environment. I just love how PyCharm simplifies everything for me. So first thing I always advise in any Python project is you start with a clean slate. So you start with a virtual environment, and I'm assuming you already have Python installed. So what I'm going to do here in PyCharm is I'm going to start adding up the libraries I'm going to use. So go on to preference, and of course if you're on a Windows or Linux, things might look a bit different, but I'm sure you can find where everything is. So just going to come here, and so yes, my interpreter. So here I want to add my libraries. So the main library we're going to use today is Pygal. Of course, you can install it using pip install, or if you're using PyCharm, you can install it from here. So let's search for Pygal, and okay. So that's 2.4.0, which is cool. So that's what we're going to use, and yeah, install. Okay. One thing I like to do in all my projects so that um, it to be reproducible by other people is to start with the requirements.txt file. So let's do that right now. Requirements.txt file. Requirements.txt. Okay, so Pygal 2.4.0. Awesome. Okay, so that's Pygal 2.4.0. And let's go ahead and add more libraries here. So we're also going to use Seaborn. So we're not using Seaborn for visualization today, but it comes with some data sets which we're going to use throughout this series. So let's do that. Install 0.10.1. That's also going to install matplotlib if I'm not mistaken. Let me just Seaborn 0.10.1. Okay, and so we're gonna use pandas as well. So let's do that. We can add pandas. I'm gonna use it later. So as of this time, pandas is finally in the 1 point series. So we can just install that. Let me see. 1.0.4 will be fine. I usually don't like using the bleeding edge version. Okay, so 1.0.4 install. Alright, let's give that. That's gonna take a minute. So we can close this. We can say OK here. We call pandas. That's 1.0.4. Awesome. Okay. One last thing we need is so of course you can use Pygal outside of Jupyter Lab environment, but I like to just for demonstration purposes use Jupyter Lab. Jupyter Lab, Jupyter Notebook is the same thing, but I know soon they're going to deprecate Jupyter Notebooks and everyone will have to use Jupyter Labs. And honestly, I've used Jupyter Labs and I think it's pretty cool, honestly. It's really awesome. I use it every time at work because I work as a data scientist and Jupyter Lab is really useful. So let me see which version. I think 2.2.0 is fine. Yeah, so for consistency, please use the same versions as I am using. So we can always be on the same page. So just type that in here. Jupyter Lab 2.2.0. Awesome. So let's wait for that to install. But while we wait for it to install, we can go ahead and just look at what Pygal is all about. Okay, so Python has several visualization libraries. You have Seaborn, you have Matplotlib, you have Coughlinks, you have Plotly, you have Bokeh, you have Pygal, several of them. Some are more low level like Matplotlib, some are high level like Seaborn. So Seaborn is pretty much built on top of Matplotlib. But today we're not going to be looking at any of that. What we're going to focus on is Pygal. I've played with this library a lot. I've used it a lot. I use it sometimes at work. And I have to say, it's something I really, really, really love. So what we're going to do now is we're going to play around with bar charts for today. Then we'll go on to other ones. But one thing I like about this library is it's so easy to get a good looking visualization. That's one awesome stuff. And the documentation is pretty neat as well. So without saying too much, I think our library has been installed. So now we can come to the terminal and just start a Jupyter Lab server. So let's do that. Jupyter Lab, boom. So this should open up something in the browser very soon. Awesome. Okay. So once you open this, we have our requirements.txt showing the versions. So this helps with consistency. So for example, if you're trying to give this project to someone else, they know exactly what to install to be up and running. Okay, and of course, for you, if you're not using PyCharm, you can go on and install this libraries using a pip install and the version number. Anyways, let's get started.